Ivan. Hello. I can't hear you, Tyler.
How about now?
Yeah, now we go. Okay, so apparently somehow I ended up in the wrong room.
Okay.
I'm
I think I'm using a very old link. Possibly.
so the link for the gathering should never have changed. It should be the same link every month. But somehow I'm trying to replay it in my head how I might have ended up. It doesn't make sense because, there are settings, like to automatically record when I start this meeting, and it did that. So really strange. But I was here happily drumming along, like, where is everybody? Thanks for Ruben for cluing me in as to what happened there. So first time for everything.
Okay, I have told Julio and Eric, and they are entering in a couple of minutes.
Excellent. Thank you, Ruben. Again, not really certain what happened there, but glad we all found each other here. Excellent. So actually, this is I am here in the Bristol, Vermont ashram. It has certainly been some years since I have been here for a gathering. I can't even recall how long it's been, particularly for a gathering on the 10th. Been quite some time. Happy to be here. Happy to see everybody. And while we await a few more people joining, why don't we go round robin and everyone kind of share how they're doing. Anyone welcome to go?
Sure, I'll go first. Excited to be here. I think it's been 4 or 5 meetings I've missed. Excited to be back. Excited to see everyone's face. And I just got COVID last week, so I'm kind of working through. I think it's over for me, but not fun.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're recovering. I'm sorry you got COVID. But I think sooner or later it'll happen to
everyone was gonna get it, right? Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, well, it's good to see you back, Tyler. Yeah, we've missed you in these last few months, but happy to have you here. Thanks for joining with us. Anyone else? We're just doing a little round robin, checking in as we're getting started, waiting for everyone to make sure we're all in the right room. But anyone else want to go and share?
Hello, good morning, or hello, Ivan. No, all right. Today is a great day for me because it's the birthday of my greatest son, so I'm happy about that, and everything okay here.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes.
To you and
I can say, oh, okay, you're.
We have a little time delay, clearly, but Mr. Perry and
hello, everybody. I'm Mike Perry from Alcor Foundation, as usual. That's pretty, a pretty normal day so far. I think it's kind of hot in this area at this time of year, but nice weather otherwise, and glad to be present at the meeting again.
Thanks for being here.
All right.
Are you in Berlin, Ivan?
Yes, still here and still good weather, and still glad to be here to see you all. you know, that's basically it.
Excellent.
No changes from my side, I would say, going into the future.
Good. Good. So yeah, Derek.
Hey everybody, good to see everyone again. I'm okay, a little bit under the weather. So like in about 2 weeks, I'm going to be moving to Vietnam. So my wife and I are like super busy, like visiting family, and we took a train, like a 7-hour train, like a sleeper train, to another like city in Russia. And it was like, you know, it's summer, it's really hot, but the train was like super cold at night. So now we're both kind of sick getting over that. But yeah, it was still fun. It was like an old like Soviet Union train. So it was like kind of cool vibes. So yep, that's what's going on with me.
That's very exciting. This move to Vietnam. Excited for you and the family, and where that will go. Excellent. So we actually have a new participant. I don't see you in the video here, but I see you online, David. And if you'd like to, you know, unmute and share a little bit about your interest and how you found us, you're welcome to. But if you'd rather observe, you're also welcome to do that.
No, I do. Hi, my
There you
name
go.
is David. I've been a journalist for a long time. I'm now in central Spain for the summer. I live in DC normally. And this is my first Terasem meeting, but I've met Julio. I met him a few years ago, and we've been in touch ever since. And I actually tried to set up a chapter for the Turing Church in Singapore. When I lived there, I was a correspondent for Bloomberg News at the time. It was a very enlightening experience, because Singapore is such a weird place, and you know, the combination of, you know, these all weird ideas and transhumanism, Singapore, you know, it led to some, you know, interesting situations. Yeah, so my first time, so I'm here to listen and see what's going on.
Excellent.
Good
Welcome.
to see you here, David.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So I think we have a good group here. Welcome to everyone. You know, everyone, some familiar faces return, some new faces. It's good to have you all here. So yeah, so again, I'm here in the Bristol ashram. I haven't been here for gathering or led a gathering from here for some time, and I opened the front door, and you know, just kind of making the place seem open. If there's anyone, you know, passing by who wants to join, there are a few people in town who come by. So I left the front door, the screen door open, and I come back around. I'm setting up the laptop, and there's this pretty fat squirrel just walking right in the front door. And I instinctively chased it off, but then felt bad because I probably gave it mixed messages. So that's kind of my experience so far this morning. But you know, yeah, being here in Vermont, it's lovely. It's been very nice, very warm, summering with my children. Just really enjoying this beautiful time. You know, we had an amazing colloquium, Space Day colloquium, just a couple weeks past, and you know, again, thank you to Julio for leading that. And yeah, you know, just a wonderful set of presentations, and again, looking forward to the next rounds of that in December. Julio also, you know, shared in a past article and some of his blog that he's working on, and I think it brings up some great points that we can, you know, think about through the discussion in terms of you know, mind filing, transhumanism, how we define ourselves in here. And just want to thank, you know, Julie again for that work. as well as for Derek. Derek has done some great things to develop some new content for Terasem, and really appreciative of those things. For everyone who is there or is not there or aware, there's a Discord channel. I was happy to see it becoming more and more active. I personally need to, be a little bit more engaged myself and connected in there. But I'm really happy about this Discord channel that we're building there, the ability to share resources, to have conversations above and beyond just this monthly meeting. It really does help build community, provides more purpose and understanding for all of us exploring these questions together. So yeah, again, that artwork, I think, Derek, what is that? The program, something journey?
Yeah. So there's this program called Midjourney, and it's kind of an AI image generator. There's also one called DALL-E 2, made by DeepMind or OpenAI. I always get those two confused. But so that's pretty cool. So I posted an image in the Discord, and I entered Truths of Terasem 1.1, which maybe can help me with that, Swami. It's like all consciousness that accepts the truth of Terasem are the sum and substance of Terasem, or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got it right when I entered it into the input. And it, yeah. And so it generated like a really cool image, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And so that's been a lot of fun, just to try that out and see what this kind of first versions of AI image generation, like what it creates. So that's cool.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. It is amazing. I've seen that from a couple different angles now, and I'm really interested in understanding a little bit more about how it does that, because every piece that I've seen has been a really beautiful, like right on kind of illustration, that does really match, the language or the poetry that you're putting into it. So I think this is a beautiful application of the ideas of Terasem, and the potential of these really creative technologies. Yeah, so yeah, thank you for that. Please check into the Discord to share that and to see the progress. If you're not already following Transreligion on Instagram, that is one of our newest channels. And again, these recordings are posted to the YouTube channel as well. So continue to check back for all those resources, share them out, engage with them. And again, feel free to check in with me. Use my Calendly if you'd like to schedule a time. We can speak and develop some ideas, or just chat. So as we move into today, we are in August. Yes, David, we will get that out to you. If anyone has the Discord shorthand URL, can post it in the chat for David right easily. That would be great. So yes, so August, we are in the second half of the When of Terasem. When is Terasem? So that would begin on page 38, section 4.6. And yeah, we will begin our reading there. Yes. So yeah, the link tree, which is I think Linktree just /Terasem, that has been a great tool to kind of bring all these different resources together to share. Yes, thank you. All right, so as always, I'll kind of begin with the first section. I'll read 4.6, and whoever is most eager can follow along, and we will complete with 4.10, ending the second half of When is Terasem. So I'll begin. 4.6, consensus may appear to slow the when of Terasem, but this is only an illusion. 4.6.1, appear fast or appear slow. Without unity, only down can anything go. 4.6.2, pathways to consent are paved with open communication. 4.6.3, processes of consent are paved with respectful communication. 4.6.4, empathy is a precursor for honest communication and conscious decision. 4.6.5, accept patience as a fair price for progress. 4.6.6, reciprocity and norms will be as accepted as they are consented to. And then continuing on page 39, any volunteer to read 4.7?
I can do.
Thank you.
Okay, so 4.7, timelines for civilization progress, n steps forward, n-1 steps backward, with n values 1 or larger. Values of n are set by actual conditions and depend inversely upon diversity and unity. Always look at setbacks as repositioning launching pads for greater progress. Look also to the big picture, for life has improved dramatically over historic time. Understand pain, suffering, and devastation as setbacks that must be overcome, not as fate. Existential technology, the ability to forge self-determination, drives unlimited progress and is programmed into the universe. Sooner or later, depending on order or chaos, joyful immortality will arrive.
Involve yourself in daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual, and quadriennial Terasem rituals. Weave time daily for exercise, vitology, unit earth, working happily, author self, serenity, utop self, motivation, astro, and sleep. Except between your Sabbath eves, only rest and relax, including reading, exercise, sexercise, and transcendental meditation. Every month gather on the 10th at 10 for music, art, recitation, teaching, and yoga. Keep quarterly holidays for freedom, nature, obligation, and transcendence with ceremony on last month's 10th day. Love the annual graduation on the 10th gathering by reading all truths and escalating Terasemers upward. Years divisible by 4 hold the quadriennial convocation from the 16th day to March 4.
Mr. Perry, you want to do 4.9 for us?
Yeah, I'll do it. Vitology, biology, inflection begins when cybernetic processing capability evidences autonomy and empathy. Breakthrough consciousness requires processors performing 1,000, I think it's probably 10 to the 16th power operations per second, coupled with autonomous and empathetic software. Expect vitological life will emerge by 2020, adjusted minus or plus for chaos or order. Genus evolution will hybridize Homo sapiens to Vitus sapiens by 2050, plus or minus chaos order time. Identity will be based on being, not body, as we will operate across multiple bodies simultaneously. Nanobot swarms as virtual human real-world agents will dominate by 2100, plus minus chaos order time. Some biological life forms will be preserved out of aesthetic pleasure using nanotechnology to relieve painful disabilities. Okay, let me see.
All right. And
There's more.
anybody-
I think that's the end of that section.
yeah, that was the end of 4.9. Those are the end of 4.9. Tyler, if you are up to reading, you got a copy with you. Yeah.
Yep. Escalation of joiner levels occur when C quads consent to the joiner's cumulative achievement of those capabilities. Levels hydrogen, helium, and lithium occur when generating or gathering demonstrations of surface, middle, and deep Terasem, respectively. Expect beryllium, boron, and carbon levels with useful teaching of diversity, unity, and joyful immortality, respectively. Vest nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine levels when one has co-founded 1, 2, and 4 C cubes, respectively. Elevate to neon, sodium, and magnesium with co-creating to 1, 2, or 4 authored cells, respectively. Levels aluminum and silicon happen with contributions to 1 and 4 geoethical solutions, respectively. Sanctify 1 as phosphorus when a quadrantal convocation consents they demonstrate the quintessence that's a tongue twister, of Terasem.
Excellent. Thank everybody for participating and reading and through the second half of When is Terasem here. And so now that we've kind of read this part, we move into just open discussion, contemplation, questioning of what these truths mean or kind of bring to mind or to heart. So anyone with any particular truth they may want to go back to or have a question of, welcome to chime in.
Rosa,
Okay.
something that came to my mind. The Truths of Terasem, I understand, is meant to be a living document that is updated somehow.
Yes.
So I was thinking that maybe we could draft a few new sections, like 1 to 10, to put somewhere in the book with the things that are very compatible with the rest, but are not written all in the same place, one after the other at this moment. I think that would be good. So I'm drafting a couple of sections that I would like to propose as new sections. How do you recommend to go about that? Do I send them to you and to Martin first, or do we discuss in the group, or what?
Yes. So that is, first of all, a great question, and thank you for taking the time to consider and develop those. So the best, yes, would be, I think, I mean, very much have you been communicating your work with the colloquiums. Send to me. You're welcome to copy Martine as well. I would, and I'm thinking this through as I'm saying. So on the one hand, I would like to actually maybe dedicate a channel within the Terasem Discord, particularly to kind of convocation, development ideas. So at the quadrennial convocation every 4 years. So I believe this will be 2024 is the next convocation date, if I'm not mistaken. And it's then that we will like formally make the kind of suggestions and whatnot. I do believe that this next convocation is going to be our most active convocation to date. Last Ruben was there just before COVID hit at the last convocation. And many of us were unable to travel, and so, but this next one, because of everything that we've been doing in these last few years, I think we're going to have an incredibly rich amount of material to go through. And so I think that there is going to be a need to maybe sort some of that prior to the day of, right, when we're kind of really voting on what those changes will be. So to one say, this recording these meetings and cataloging them has been something I've intentionally done in order to better track how we discuss and the ideas and questions that we have, in order to suggest these are the points where the most focus or misunderstanding is coming from. So I encourage everyone to, at least as Julia, start that process. If you have a specific recommendations, or perhaps, maybe in this case, Julio, a shared document, would be a good way to go about it. Mostly, this isn't really a problem that we've ever confronted before, because the convocation has largely, been Martine, myself, maybe a little bit Lori, not a lot of, participants putting into it. So this is why I'm very excited, because of how much energy and how much participation we've had. This next convocation, I think, should prove to be a very lively, debate on how to, present the future of Terasem. For David's sake, to maybe fill in some of this, because I know he's just following along. Every 4 years, we have a meeting, and the Truths of Terasem are updated by its participants. So it is a living document, unlike, maybe, the the 10 Commandments and the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, that these things that were, say, handed down by the word of God and, are kind of conceived to be static and unchanging. Terasem embraces change, and so periodically we allow for updates to the Truths of Terasem every 4 years. And so again, I think that I heard in Julio's point here, we're in the section of this when of Terasem. But this whole 410 section very much does sound a lot like a how is Terasem, right? There are some kind of procedural things going on in here. And so they are, I mean, there are a number of places throughout there, throughout the truths, which do align to other things, but are spread out. You kind of have, I know if sometimes I may have a question or have come to a question, and you may think, well, that sounds like a when is Terasem, but really the best answer that you're looking for is actually somewhere in how is Terasem. And I think that was part of what Julia was saying in there too.
By the way, I think I was at the convocation is 2012, if I'm not wrong. Yes, 2012. It was a great few days event. I very definitely look forward to coming with the next one. It should be October 2024, I guess.
It should be March. It's always
March 2024.
Yeah. So the convocations will always begin on the 28th, on the leap year, and then it will end on March 4th. So from the leap year, from the 29th to March 4th, every leap year. Yep.
Yeah, but so will we have like a separate channel in Discord or for suggestions?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, bringing up that question, I think it is worthy of maybe its own thread, because there will be certain topics, and certain interest, right? So to kind of by definition, we're getting into the weeds, right? And so someone who's just making their first brush and interested in the more general topics, may not, be, we could lose their attention, by trying to drag them down into something they're not, really fully ready to grasp. So I think I think that would be a good, venue for it. I'm totally open to suggestions, and this is a good problem to have. But, to be honest, in the past, we haven't been dealing with a lot of, input, right? And so isn't a very, well-defined channel of, how you would, make these submissions, because no one's really walked that path firmly enough. But I would start with saying that, that you should, like your mind file, be cataloging your thoughts and your questions towards the truths of Terasem, and either sharing that maybe in a document at some point in time when you're ready, or we'd have a specific conversation maybe within Discord. Sounds like the best way to approach that for me. Ruben, I think you also had something you were going to jump in with.
Oh, yes. Well, about this this chapter of the truth, in last convocation, we have been talking about 4.10, and if it was we talk about perhaps in the future modifying this escalation of joiner levels, and we discuss if this is really good or important to have these levels or not. And I think this is something that can be discussed again in this convocation, because perhaps as an example, well, in that convocation was with us Jim Sorrentino, also that is a master of Aikido, and I will put the example of martial arts where you have colors for identifying the level of the people, but in some other martial arts like Kung Fu, for example, you don't have those colors. I think that is a philosophical term about this. My own opinion about this is that perhaps we can not use these levels, except the last level, the 4.10.6, that I think this is a very important thing. And in that convocation, we give the phosphorus status to Fred Chamberlain, and I think that is something really important and that has to be honored. So I think that is something that we have to maintain, and perhaps discuss the other levels. That's it.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up, because that is something that I have been I've been struggling with somewhat in terms of how to treat it.
I lost your voice.
Oh no, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, good. All right, sorry. Yeah, I've been struggling with this, because we have we're at a point we have good participation. There are a lot of things that people are doing to demonstrate, to teach. I'm particularly very excited with Derek going to Vietnam, and we can treat that as establishing a new a C cube, and so there's yeah, it's a very exciting time. Lots of growth. I never felt really attached to why we had 3 different levels for in each one. That didn't, I can't really give you a good explanation, and necessarily but I think also that in the terms of what Terasem is trying to do is to create some lifestyle, some identity, to to adapting to a changing world and environment. And so within that, there should be, if not simply, incentives, right? To, pat on the back, a sticker, just kind of like, thank you, encouragement, yes, along the way. That at least that there's really like a structured path, right? There, like, what do we call like a user experience, right? Like what is, they walk in the door and then what do they see and what are their choices and where do they go, right? What does that look like, for someone coming into Terasem? And so I think that that's really important. So, someone like David, so this is David's first gathering, right? So like what happens next, right? And does that path have to be the same for everybody? That's not, I don't think so, but you do need to stop and you do need to make certain, recollections, reflections, along the way. And so I think that particularly is something that is spoken to here. That, again, I think there's room for development, there's room for improvement, and certainly, I've tried to understand where and how to best recognize and acknowledge, the work that deserves it, right? That being said, the last few years, we really haven't gone as far as to say, Julio is now at sodium level, and and then next year we'll get to magnesium, right? So the last, I think, 3 years, we haven't specifically mentioned levels at a graduation. It's just been a more like we've done the general reading and a general graduation, and partly because to say David's here next year and he's done all these gatherings. Well, it doesn't say in here what do you have to go through hydrogen, helium, and lithium, right? And so like it doesn't say. So who's
am I hydrogen now?
No, not yet. So in fact, and this is part of this ongoing experiment. So there was a time that we didn't really have a name at all, and then we went with joiners, and then more recently I've used inspirants. And so I would call David, I would call you an inspirant, to Terasem. So Terasem is inspired by those who come to it, right? Yourself, your interest, your curiosity, you're part of the conversation is what inspires this greater, idea and movement. So the more of us who are sharing together, the more inspired, the greater, the more purposeful, the more real this all becomes, right? And I think that is, I think that's more Terasem, I think it gives us, it just kind of flows. It kind of flows naturally from that. So now that you're, we're inspirants, where do we go from there? And we're not going to answer that today, but I think it's a good question to to go in and to consider. So certainly, I mean, I think a good way to start is to say that achieving level 1 means that you've participated in most, if not you've completed a whole cycle, right? Like a whole yearly cycle. At least you were there for the graduation, right? To say that you've actually read, you've observed the whole truths. And then so beryllium is more about teaching, right? So now that you've gone through this whole year, maybe you have started to mind file, to blog, to come out and share, right? And so that's often when we start these gatherings, we start with the sharings. And Ruben has this beautiful garden in Argentina that he's been making. Derek has been putting the truths into this AI art generator. Julia's a colloquium. We wouldn't have cryonics without Michael Perry. That's, I mean, there's everybody here is doing great work, you know, and making this happen. And so all of these, you know, qualify as teachings, right? You know, each and every one of those. And the next is in a kind of co-founding C-cubes, which more or less are just, you know, where you are, you know, physically or ideologically. And when you turn from just observing and then to participating in teaching, you know, others come and attract to you. So, I mean, you don't, like, I'm here in a hard place in an ashram, but I'm here alone, you know, physically, right here. So, I mean, you don't have to have a congregation for it to be a C-cube. So, you know, where all of you are on a regular basis, whether it's Alcor in Scottsdale, you know, or your apartment in Berlin, you know, I think that qualifies, as long as you have gone through the steps of observation, have moved past that into a point of, you know, teaching and education, and self-development, right? Then, you know, it is where you are, whether that is in physical or in metaphysical, ideological, you know, space. There's no reason that we can't have, you know, an ashram. We have an ashram in Second Life, right? You know, why not in other, you know, metaverses, right? And then, so I think this 4.10.4, we talk about authored selves. I've looked at that as at sometimes being children, books, you know, something along those, you know, lines. It's not very firmly, you know, developed as to what that means. If anyone has other ideas, you're welcome to kind of jump in there. But the point is, as we go through this, there's a level of development, right? You know, did you show up? Did you read it? You know, are you doing anything with it? You know, and then the scales at which you are developing those ideas, right? So when does that blog, you know, become a book, become, you know, a movie, become Bina 48, right? Like, and so when we get to 4.10.5, right? Contributed to one, you know, or more geoethical solutions respectively, which I would say maybe a patent, an invention, curing a disease, right? Like, you know, that is really the highest, you know, kind of level of attainment of doing good, of God being technological, right? You know, of you manifesting what you would believe, what you do believe, what you would want to see, you manifesting in that world, you know, through, you know, the improvement of self and the ethical use of technology. And then as Ruben says, 4.10.6, phosphorus, which is, you know, really the ultimate. And the only person that has done that is Fred Chamberlain, you know, and so in precedent, it exists as a posthumous, you know, qualification, although it doesn't certainly have to be that way. You know, if you have, you know, achieved 4 geoethical solutions, I'm sure you've qualified, you know, for at that point. But we do, you know, thank Fred Chamberlain for making cryonics, you know, a reality, a geoethical solution. And in fact, everything that we do, whether it's mind files, you know, these conversations, really is, you know, greatly inspired by Fred Chamberlain's work, both as Life Pact, as Alcor, and just as a really genuine good human being who dedicated their lives to education and creating, you know, a better world through that. Yeah.
There was this thing that you mentioned about, you know, that triggers many memories about things like Second Life and Metaverse. That was a very cool thing to do. And I was very much involved in the 2005 or so, and it seemed that Second Life, which was the prototype metaverse at that time, would become something big. Now, we all know that that did not happen, and there are many easy to understand reasons to understand in hindsight why that did not happen. So we have forgotten sort of about these things. Now we do our meetings using Zoom. Now I still follow metaverse things very actively. You know, I used to be a professional, so I cannot really distance myself too much from that. And what I'm saying is that you know, things are happening, and things could begin to change soon. With all these Oculus and things and virtual reality gear and all that. I mean, it's not going to happen next week. Give it at least another couple of years to mature. But I think this idea of living in a metaverse that we thought would be the case with Second Life 15 years ago could become now in this decade. Now, at that point, and speaking about C-cubes and ashrams and, you know, forms of gathering more intuitively immersive than what we're having now. All these could be, we could do that now with some systems that are being developed. Now, give it a couple of years for first the technology to mature. Hardware and software. Second, the price of things that you have to buy to go down a little bit. And third, with a critical mass of users. So you don't go to a virtual place without being able to find anyone there. And at the end of the day, I think in a couple of years, maybe mid-2024 would be a good moment to start. We could really and seriously start the establishment of this Terasem metaverse. And I think it would be something for those who have not experienced these things. It's very different from Zoom. If you are in a well-done virtual world with good friends and everything works well, you really have the feeling that you are there in a physical place. Let's keep thinking about this.
Yes. Yeah. So very interesting. I mean, I always had problems with Second Life. And so conceptually, it seems like a good idea, but it's actually not very accessible. You know, and that's a huge part of it. You know, in fact, our ashrams.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. But you know, the new things are meant to be much more accessible than Second Life, much easier to learn, without all these things that maybe the internet speed goes down, you don't hear the voice anymore and all that. And they have been working for 15 years to solve all these little problems, and they will not say that they have solved all the problems already, but I will say that, you know, there has been a lot of progress since then, and we can expect more and more progress, especially since Facebook and, you know, big boys with a lot of money got involved.
Yeah. So in another hat that I wear, I am a part of a real estate brokerage, and it is EXP, EXPI World Holdings, and one of their holdings is Verbella Technologies, which is an enterprise metaverse, right? So, yeah. And so I use it in my brokerage. And so I do all of my trainings, not all of my, but most of my trainings, you know, my networking. So we have Workplace by Facebook. So that's in use. We have Verbella, which is our metaverse. So, you know, instead of having kind of a corner office, you know, we do our closings in the metaverse. And then, so not only, interestingly enough, is that I mean, not only are we a real estate company in the real world, but there's a real estate company in the metaverse, right? Because EXPI is not only just selling real estate, they're selling metaverses to AT&T, to Microsoft, to, because, and very interesting what they've done. It is very much like Second Life. It feels a lot like Second Life.
Yeah, I've been in Virbela.
Yeah.
Last time I think I had the impression that it costed a lot of money, more than what a small company or organization can afford. Is that still the case?
Actually, I have not looked at it from the subscription ends. I don't know what it would cost for you to set up and maintain it as a metaverse. I just know that it's an option, and and the fact that there's I'm very interested to see, or even maybe to develop an offering to nonprofits, even say church groups, give the Mormons a metaverse, Terasem has a metaverse, and to see what would be possible for something like that. Yeah.
You think Virbela is a good platform for that?
I do. In fact, in the time I've been using it, it's not perfect, but they work on it. They are proving it. It does the job. It does a job pretty well. And in fact, it's really impressive what we've done in our own metaverse. Every month, they have like rolling exhibits. And so you can walk in and you essentially walk into an exhibit hall in the metaverse. And, 1 month, it was Black History Month, and, all these exhibits that you can go in and learn about history. And, there was Mental Health Month, and you could go in and there was, spas and video games. It's really incredible. And so I'm a big, I'm a big fan of this. And again, following the different metaverse options out there, I think that being designed as an enterprise software, that like part of the problem with Second Life, particularly for a lot of corporations and groups, is that there was a lot of, other stuff going on in Second Life, right? And so someone says, I'm going in Second Life, and, well, I heard Second Life is not, a savory place to be, right? So Virbela has, sidestepped that by having different metaverses, entirely. So it's more like a franchise, rather than this one immersive world where someone could, and very much did, right? There's that was a problem that we had with our island in Second Life. Even the U.S. military in Second Life had, hackers coming in and destroying their environments. And so, there's a better protection against that sort of thing. So honestly, I do think that this model, and this is, I'm not saying this because I'm part of the brokerage and it's like a subproduct. I joined the brokerage because I thought Virbela was the future of metaverses.
Could you maybe organize one of the next gatherings in Virbela, in your office in Virbela, to see how people here like it?
I believe so. Yeah. Because we do bring guests into the world as, if they are either looking to be, agents, or if we're going to do a transaction. So you can bring guests in the world. I know that. I've not actually, tried to do it in kind of a separate function, but I'll look into that. Absolutely.
I'll also look into that. Interesting.
Brother, what's the name of this world or this software?
I'm going to type it so we get it right.
Guys, I'll have to go, and it's been great seeing all you guys, and I look forward to seeing you all next month.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you, Giulio. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We generally try to conclude, we keep it very strict to an hour. We are at the top of the hour. We generally conclude with a, quick meditation. Bye, Giulio. And so we will sign off, and I thank everyone for being here, for participation. It was such a lively, kind of great conversation. So love having that, that feedback. Looking forward to seeing everybody next month on the 10th, and before that in Discord, because I know we have a few more conversations and a lot of activity that we want to get going. And congratulations, Derek. I guess next time we see you, you'll be in Vietnam. Excellent. All right. Blessings.
All right.